So, ladies and gentlemen, the first step in becoming a real CEO is figuring out what are the bottlenecks in your business? What are the areas that are holding you back from actually being able to work on your business rather than work in your business? Now, in order to do that, I have something for you that I've coined the vacation exercise. Now, what the vacation exercise is a hypothetical process of figuring out what would happen to you and your business, especially if you stepped away, right? Because that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is money, of course, building a business, of course, but it's freedom. The reason we get into all this is because we want more freedom. And that can be freedom to travel, freedom to spend time with your family, freedom to go jet skiing whenever you want, whatever it is that you want it for, it doesn't really matter. That's really the goal here, right? And if you need to work in your business, you can work in your business. But if you don't want to work in your business, you don't have to. Okay, so let me explain what this is, all right? Because when you started out in this partnership program, your business has most certainly evolved in a lot of ways than it was at the beginning and the start of this partnership program. And so now you are faced with a new set of obstacles, a new set of bottlenecks, because now you are in a very different place, right? Where I was 1 year ago is very different from where I'm at now. I can tell you all the things that were hanging me up back then, they're not even an issue today, right? Because I have figured out what they were, step one, identifying them, and then I have put in my steps to overcome those things. And we're going to go over that as well. So let's do this, right? Let's do this together. Imagine that you've left. Imagine that you have gone. Look at the picture. That's me back home and little beach in Kihei near where I live. And imagine you went there, or imagine you went anywhere. I don't care if it's snowboarding up in the Swiss Alps, or even if you just went to, I don't know, somewhere down the street for 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter. I want you to get a pen and paper out, or an Evernote, or a notepad, or digital notes, whatever you want to do. And I want you to answer these questions. And you can pause the video as we go through this. All right. What would happen to your business if you left? What would happen if you left for a week or 30 days? Right. And when I say what would happen, I mean, what would actually happen? You know, would nothing get done? Would the people that are helping you on your team right now, would they have the ability to speak to customers, get all the information they need? Would they know where to find all of the assets that they need, all the client folders or files in order to build websites or get ads set up or do some SEO? All these questions will come into play, right? So you have to actually mentally really think about it. What would happen? You know, and I know for me, when I had one project manager, I knew that if I left, then a lot of the in between would stop, because in the beginning, I was the one talking to my clients and I would relay the information to my project manager. So if I'm not there, then the communication with my clients stopped. So what I had to do was start allowing my project manager to actually speak to the clients as well. And that was a barrier for me. I wasn't doing that for some reason. I thought that because she was in Italy, they would think that I'm outsourcing their work to somewhere else and blah, 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 blah. Truth be told, it really hasn't come up ever. Nobody's really asked where my project manager lives or anybody else in my team where they live. It doesn't really matter as long as they're getting the job done, right? So what I started to do was every time I sent a message to my clients, I started to also CC my project manager or whoever else on my team that it's important to know whatever I'm saying on all the emails, right? I need to bring them up to speed. And I started out just sending them all the emails, putting them on all communication and introducing them to the various clients, right? When we bring a new client in, I immediately introduce them to our project manager. You've seen that in the stage before this, how that whole process works, right? Because once I introduce the client to the project manager, then the project manager is empowered to speak with the client, get all the necessary information, follow the onboarding SOP in order to get the project rolling, right? So once I figured that out and I started looping my project manager in, then if I were to step away, my project manager could still speak with my clients, right? So that's an example. That was a big one for me. First time I ever went away, and I I figured that out. There would be a big disconnect between us and the clients. So that's when I started looping my project manager in. So that is what actually leads me to the next question here, or statement, whatever you want to call it. Who would be your point of contact? And I mean for you, but also for your clients. For me, it's my project manager, right? If something goes wrong with a project, my clients are usually emailing my project manager because that's who is their point of contact. And if it's something my project manager can't figure out, then she will first go to the dev team or whoever else is working on the project. And then she will go to me and ask if, or tell me what the issue is so I can help put out a fire. But I can tell you that if you have somebody else that is the point of contact while you are out doing your own thing, then that will really give you that flexibility that you're looking for. So if you don't have a point of contact yet, you probably should. But if you don't, then that should be a hire that you should be doing, right? So there the three main pieces that we talk about in the stage before of a business, right? The client getting, the project management, and the fulfillment. There's also kind of the administrative, which is like getting invoices paid and all that stuff, but we usually just have our project managers do those as well. So you need to make sure that you have all three of those categories worked out, right? Client getting, project management, which is what we've already been talking about here, and then fulfillment. So the next step is, how would you get more customers, right? If you're somebody that's running ads, then do you have your project manager helping you manage those ads? Or do you have somebody running ads for you that is going to continue to run the ads while you're gone? And is your project manager working with them to make sure the quality is in check and then the ads keep running? Because if you are, then you're probably good to go, right? You could leave and then your clients would still find you. And if you're not running ads, well, maybe you're doing some manual prospecting. Maybe you're using our remote prospecting system where you're sending those Loom videos out. Maybe if you were to step away, you should think about replacing yourself and bringing somebody in to start doing those things for you as well, right? So it doesn't really matter what your client getting method is. You just need to make sure that you can have that happening while you are not there, just like the project management and just like the fulfillment, right? So ask yourself these questions, write down the areas that you need help with, because I'm going to show you how to attack these things next, right? So the next thing is how would you fulfill those customers? And so in the beginning of this partnership program, we taught you how to build a rockstar team, a team that's going to help you with your fulfillment. So if you're still doing some of the fulfillment yourself, then you may want to hire somebody to help you with that stuff, right? And if your skill set is the actual fulfillment, that's what you enjoy doing, you love doing that, well, maybe you should just get an alternate to help you do that while you are gone. That's going to really free you up, because at the end of the day, ultimate freedom means that you can leave your business and it still grows without you. Not just runs, but grows, right? That's the ultimate goal. Like, imagine leaving your business today, coming back 2 months from now and being like, and your project manager saying, hey, while you were gone, we landed 16 new clients. That's 10 more than the last 60 days, and everything is taken care of. Wouldn't that be the most amazing thing ever? Yes, of course it would. And that's what the goal is here. So you need to have all these things put in place, right? So how would you fulfill those customers? I personally have an AdWords team, a paid ads team. I have web developers. I have copywriters. I have a project manager. I have salespeople. I have web designers, right? Those people do all the fulfillment. My project manager is the one who engages with them. My project manager is the one who goes in between the clients and the fulfillment. So I don't need to be doing that. I do need to be involved in the beginning to train them up, to train my project manager up, to help them understand that this is what I'm looking for. I set the tone as a CEO of how the quality and the time frames of when things should be delivered. And if I do that right, then our project manager is going to fall in place, and she or he is going to translate that into our fulfillment teams, right? And that brings us to our quality checks. Like, who is going to make sure that the quality is in place? Do you have feedback loops in your business? And a feedback loop is something like, after you do a job, you reach out to the client and say, hey, what did you like about this process? Or did everything work well for you? Is there anything that we could have done to be better in order to improve next time? That's a feedback loop, right? Because once you bring somebody in and you do something for them and you go through the process, if you don't know what their experience was like for them, then there's no way to improve. But if you ask, then you can change it the next time around. If there was something that wasn't good, you can change that the next time around for the next person, right? So that's a feedback loop, and that's a way to check your quality. The quality checks in my business are usually done by the project manager and also the marketing assistant, right? The project manager asks the web developer or the ads person to run ads and do the work, but the project manager is also the person that is doing the reporting each month. Meaning, if we're doing SEO for a client, the project manager at the end of the month, the end of the billing cycle, will go look at the metrics that we are seeing from the SEO work that we're doing, and they'll put together a report to send to the client. And during that time, if the metrics or the reporting doesn't show that we're making traction or doing better than last month, well, then we have to figure out why. It could be something on our end, on the fulfillment side, or maybe it's something on the client side. But this is where you actually identify that, right? Nothing is going to go on for 6 months without figuring out if it was working or if it wasn't working. We're going to catch it right there and make changes to make sure that, we're doing the right thing moving forward. So you need to make sure that your quality is in check. So how are you making sure that your quality is in check right now? And if you're not, or if you are doing it, then maybe you should put something in place to replace that and make sure that it can happen while you are not there. And then at the end of it, how long could you really step away right now without things breaking? I mean, could you leave tomorrow and not say anything to anybody, or just tell them you're leaving and come back and everything will be fine? Or would it break tomorrow? How about a week? How about a month? How about 6 months? Now, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I'm not completely hands off. I guess I could be, but I am still in a place where my project managers, salespeople, and my assistant will periodically ask me for questions. How should I respond to this? What would you do here? I'm not the one actually doing the action steps, but they ask me for my feedback. Like, how would I treat this situation? So they learn, right? But I could leave for a month and everything would still be completely fine. But if I want to just leave for a week, I can really spend a half hour on my business every single day and it would be just fine. I could spend, probably at the minimum an hour a week and everything would just be fine. I spend a little more because I'm not trying to leave completely. I'm fine with doing a little bit. It's a nice way to start the day and have your coffee. And so that's just what it looks like for me. It might look very different for you. So anyway, if you haven't already, pause the video now, ask these questions, spend a good amount of time. The more detailed, the better. Write down your answers. And that way we can identify what we're going to need to fix, right? Because you're going to have that list of pain points that you've written down, right? These would be your bottlenecks. And what you're going to do is, after looking at your bottlenecks, you're going to make another list because it's going to be pretty clear to you. How are you going to improve these things? So do you need to hire a new person to do something? Because usually what I've found in any of my bottlenecks, right? If I'm the thing that's going to break while I'm gone is we're not going to get any new customers. Well, for me, that is a people thing. I need to hire more people to help me prospect, right? If it's maybe, we don't, the ad section of our business, like running ads for clients, maybe that's going to break while we're gone. Well, maybe that's a skill thing. Maybe I need to get better at running ads or hire somebody to help me run those ads. So you can almost always look at any bottleneck in your business as either a talent problem or a skill problem. Talent problem meaning people problem, and then skill problem. You can fix almost any bottleneck by hiring somebody that has knowledge or experience, and you can almost fix every bottleneck by learning a new skill. It's almost always those two things. Sometimes you might have a cash flow problem, but you can solve a cash flow problem by learning a new skill that brings in money, or by hiring somebody that knows how to do something that brings in money, right? So a cash flow problem can be fixed by bringing in new talent or learning a new skill. So you need to identify the list that you've compiled from your vacation exercise, and then next to each thing, I want you to put a line across it and then identify how you're going to solve this problem. Are you going to hire a new person? Do you need a system? Do you need an SOP in place so that whoever is doing this for you knows how to do it while you're gone, or knows how to train the person that's going to do it while you're gone? Or do you need to learn a new skill? Or do you need to build out a system? So those are usually the things that I have identified as the things that will alleviate any of those bottlenecks. It might be different for you, but what I want you to do right now is spend some time doing these two things. Do the vacation exercise, identify all the bottlenecks in your business that would cause your business to break if you left for the next 30 days. And then next to those issues, I want you to write what you think the solution would be on how to alleviate those bottlenecks. Okay, so spend some time doing that. And then in the next video, I'm going to introduce you to something called MINS, which is the most important next step. And as a CEO, that's just what I do every day. Every single day, I do the most important next step, and that helps me to get to all of my goals and dreams. And if you haven't already noticed, you've probably already been doing MINS, but I want to break it down in a way from the CEO perspective. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.